Okay, so we'll get started. Welcome. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the 2021 King's College Alumni Awards. My name is Freddie Pettit. I'm the Vice President for Institutional Advancement here at King's and a proud member of the class of 1996. And I am thrilled to welcome each of you who join us tonight to a celebration of 5 extraordinary King's College alumni, a celebration of 5 people who have given life to the words of our founding president, Father James Connerton, who so boldly proclaimed many years ago that King's teaches its students not only how to make a living, but how to live. We will hear about each of these extraordinary alumni, and we will hear from each of these alumni this evening. To our honorees, Marianne Palmieri, Daniel Simpson, Jacqueline Beck, Michael Bukowski, PJ Utz, thank you. Thank you for your example for our students today. Whether you know it or not, your life experience, your example of what can be with the King's College education is so profoundly important to our young women and men on campus today. We're grateful for you, and we're so happy for you tonight. And to the friends and family of our honorees, thank you for making the time to be with us tonight, and thank you for all that you have done to make their stories possible. We know none of us do it alone, and so know of our gratitude for you. I will make one note that this program is being recorded for future use, so just wanted all of our guests tonight to be aware of that. To begin our program, I am thrilled to introduce to you for his first experience as president for the Alumni Awards, our 10th president, our new leader who has done a fantastic job in his early days as president here at King's. To lead us with a brief welcome and words of prayer, Father Tom Looney. Father Tom.
Great. Well, thanks, Freddie, and a very warm welcome to all of you, especially our alumni awardees. Please note that Freddie said my words of welcome should be short, so I heard him say that very clearly. So let me just echo Freddie's great words of welcome. You know, my predecessor, Father Jack Ryan, spoke eloquently of the powerful witness of King's graduates who, by the virtuous character of their lives, their commitment to the common good, and their service to the communities, were rightly called bearers of hope to people. It's a joy to be with you and to acknowledge and celebrate the various ways that Jacqueline, Marion, Mike, PJ, and Dan have built upon the foundation of their education here at King's, become bearers of hope to others. Our mission statement contains a phrase from the Congregation of Holy Cross, and it says this: the Holy Cross education transforms minds and hearts in zeal in communities of hope. And as I read the nomination letters that people sent in about these 5 wonderful alumni, it just struck me that how your lives embody that statement. Zeal. Zeal's a passion for the good. And it's not just working hard, and it's not the scourge of being a workaholic, but it's doing one's work with a great sense of compassion for other people, almost a work that's soaked in compassion. And as I read the honorees, your letters about you, that became so clear to me about who each of you are. And what a joy to celebrate you, that you are so committed to the communities in which you find yourself, going above and beyond in service as educators, as healthcare workers in the business community. What wonderful bearers of hope you are. And as Freddie said, this is being recorded, so we hope to share some of this with our students, because they need, in this day and age when life is so chaotic, they need to see that people have walked the King's path before them, and that walking that path can bring them great opportunities to serve their sisters and brothers, to become great human beings, and to contribute so much to the transformation of society. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for honoring us by our honoring you. So let us bow our heads in prayer. Loving and gracious God, we thank you for you have called each one of us to life and mission as part of the King's College community. We thank you for the noble mission of King's that seeks to help students not only learn how to make a living, but how to live. We ask you to bless in a special way today Jacqueline, Marion, Mike, PJ, and Dan, their families and friends, their collaborators in the missions where they find themselves in service with every good gift. Fill their hearts with a deep sense of the admiration and respect that we, as the King's College community, have for them. Bless us this evening. Help us to celebrate well the gifts that you have given to these wonderful women and men, and the way that they have used these gifts to glorify your name and to bless your people. And we ask this through Christ, our Lord and King. Amen.
Thank you so much, Father Tom. What a beautiful way to begin the program. Also with us tonight is one of our finest, a longtime, loyal, generous, giving, thoughtful, mentor, benefactor, and friend. A member of the class of 1977 and the chair of the King's College Board of Directors. Joining us tonight with his personal words of appreciation in representing the King's College Board is our chair of the Board of Directors, Mr. Tom Smith. Welcome, Tom.
Good evening. I'm honored to be with all of you this evening and join Father Looney and Freddie in welcoming everyone to the King's College Alumni Award ceremony on behalf of its Board of Directors. Marion, you were always very generous and committed to the mission of King's College, even as a student. I remember asking for your help with a fundraising initiative our senior year when I ran a production called The Follies. There was another classmate that also participated in that initiative by the name of Lou Palmieri. If I recall correctly, that began your journey through life with Lou. Your service to the institution started as a student and continues today, and you helped make King's College a positive experience for its students. Mike, it's been a privilege to get to know you these past several years as a fellow board member of King's. I've always been impressed with your ability to mentor and develop countless healthcare leaders and executives during your remarkable business career. Your good works continue through their initiatives as they go out and pursue their careers. Jacqueline, PJ, and Dan, it's so nice to meet you all remotely. Jacqueline, you're a role model for our students, not only in what you have accomplished professionally, but the time you have spent on medical missions outside of the United States, helping those much less fortunate with medical care that they desperately needed. You bring that caring and welcoming spirit of King College with you, for which we are all so grateful. PJ, the award for outstanding professional achievement in the arts and sciences is really an understatement of what you have accomplished as both a medical professor and researcher at Stanford University School of Medicine. Many of your good works continue to live on in your former students and the countless patients that have benefited from your medical research, improving their lives. Dan, as a student, you were so generous with your time at King's in leadership roles in student organizations and multiple serve trips in both the United States and Mexico. Your passion for helping others also as an emergency medical physician in North Philadelphia and soon to be Camden, New Jersey, where I worked the past 40 years, as well as your research, lectures, and publications in emergency medicine demonstrates your selfless and caring professional commitment to benefit others. As both Father and Freddie had mentioned, our founding president, Father Jim Connerton's vision for King's was to teach its students not only how to make a living, but how to live. You were all role models for our students at making that vision a reality. So congratulations to all of you, and back to you, Freddie, so we can proceed with the ceremony to learn more about and honor each of these distinguished alumni.
Thank you, Tom, so much for your thoughtful words as always. And what a treat for our honorees and their family and friends to be welcomed both by our president and by the chair of the board. We're grateful for you both. I'll share just a word or two about how we'll proceed with the program tonight. So for each honoree, we'll take one award at a time. I'll introduce the award with a brief description of the award, and we'll have a member of our team narrate the proclamation. So Wendy Hinton, who's the Executive Director of College Marketing and Communications, you'll hear her terrific voice reading through the proclamations. And at the conclusion of each proclamation, I'll invite our honoree to share a few words of their own. So we'll begin tonight with the Robert J. L. Alumni Award for Outstanding Service to Alma Mater. named for Robert J. L., the class of 1950, the first graduating class at King's, and also the first director of alumni relations at King's College. This award is conferred upon an alumnus or alumna for extraordinary service, dedication, and commitment to King's College. We're thrilled tonight to recognize this year with the 2021 Robert J. L. Award, Mrs. Marion Palmieri.
Marion Palmieri, class of 1977, has had and continues to have many important affiliations with King's College. She began her time at King's as an undergraduate student and graduated in 1977 with a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics. She then became a loyal alumna and volunteer, and in 1999 transitioned to a staff member who has worked at the college for 22 years. Palmieri currently serves as the Director of Institutional Research, a position she has held since 2002. Palmieri's dedication to the college reaches beyond her duties in the Academic Affairs Division and extends into her generous gift of time in support of King's College's mission. She has been a constant presence on campus, volunteering her time to work towards improving the student experience. She has volunteered to flip pancakes at the grill during finals week at countless flapjack fests, worked to assist new students and parents during freshman orientation and senior week, participated in city serve trips, and most recently has volunteered to deliver meals to students in quarantine during the COVID-19 pandemic. Palmieri also teaches HCE classes, is a mentor to the Achievement Plus program, and has served as a volunteer for the Institutional Advancement Division to help raise funds during important campaigns. Along with her husband, Louis Palmieri, class of 1977, she worked as a volunteer with the Alumni Phonathon from the 1970s through the 2000s, where she took on leadership roles of class chairperson, decade section chairperson, and ultimately chairperson of the Phonathon. It became a family affair to work at the Alumni Phonathon, as they also enlisted the help of their children, Chris and Jessica, to assist with the efforts over the years. She has been instrumental in coordinating reunions for her fellow monarchs in the class of 1977. Palmieri has been actively involved in supporting the college's Catholic identity, having served as the chair of the Catholic Identity Committee, as well as having represented King's at the canonization of St. Andre Bessette. For her years of service and dedication to King's College, we present to Marion Palmieri, class of 1977, with esteem and appreciation, the Robert J. L. Alumni Award for Outstanding Service to Alma Mater, this 31st day of August in the year of the Lord, 2021.
Congratulations, Marion. Those of us on campus who know you so well know some of these stories that we just learned about through your proclamation, but please know of our gratitude for the incredibly important work you do each day, both seen and unseen. I invite you, Marion, to say a few words.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here with you today to accept this award. I'm very grateful to Father Looney and Father Ryan, and also grateful to everyone at King's who was instrumental in nominating me for the award. This award is especially meaningful to me because it bears the name of someone who I admired very much, someone who, in my opinion, was one of the greatest alumni of all time at King's College, Robert J. L. Soon after I graduated from King's in 1977, one of my best friends recruited me to work as a volunteer at the Alumni Phonathon. It was there that I first met Bob L., who amused us with his stories and his jokes and made us laugh by ringing cowbells. But behind all the humor was an amazing man who took King's to a new level in fundraising. Over the years, it was so much fun to make calls at the Alumni Phonathon. Through this volunteer work, I kept in touch with so many of my classmates and felt like I was making a difference and giving back to my alma mater. As I mentioned, I graduated King's in 1977, over 40 years ago, but the memories of those 4 years that I spent here as a student are still with me, and remembering them always brings a smile to my face. Those years were transformative for me. When I read the King's mission statement now, and I see the words transforming minds and hearts with zeal in communities of hope, those words ring true in my life. I started out as a very shy freshman, And over 4 years, I grew in knowledge and confidence with the help of great faculty and staff members. I grew to love this place and to think of it as my second home. It was here at King's that I was challenged to become a leader in clubs and activities. It was here at King's that I was challenged to go on to earn a master's degree in business administration. And it was here at King's that I found the friendships that would last a lifetime, including a husband who would last a lifetime. I've had the opportunity to teach the Holy Cross Experience course to our incoming first-year students, and I always tell them to look around, pay attention as they walk down Lane's Lane or walk through the halls of McGowan or Hafey Marion, because they may be passing the person who'll become their future husband or wife. In 1999, I was welcomed back to King's as an employee, and I became the Director of Institutional Research. At that time, it really felt like I was coming home. I'd worked in business and industry, I'd worked as a consultant, and I'd taken time off to be a full-time mom to my children. But the feeling of working at King's is so very different from all other jobs. I was so proud to be working for my alma mater and so happy to again be immersed in the mission of King's. One of the other duties as assigned in my job at King's has been visiting with families during events sponsored by our admissions office. I love talking to families about how special King's is to me. I always tell them that I hope they can feel the welcoming spirit of the King's community, the things that make it feel like a family. It always gives me energy to work with students who are just starting out on their big college adventure, just like I did 40 years ago. Working with these students keeps me young, and working at volunteering at King's has been one of the greatest pleasures of my life. I am very grateful for the experiences that I have had at King's as a student, as an alum, and as an employee. And I'm very grateful for the honor of being chosen to receive this award. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Marion. Beautiful words. Completely heartfelt, as we know. We're so happy for you tonight, you and your family. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Our next award is the Alumni Award for Service to Society. The King's College Alumni Award for Service to Society is presented to an alumnus or alumna who has distinguished himself or herself through selfless and caring personal commitment to benefit others. This year's honoree is Dr. Daniel J. Simpson.
Though Daniel J. Simpson, class of 2013, is in his 4th year as an emergency medicine resident physician in the Level 1 Trauma Center at Albert Einstein Medical Center in North Philadelphia, his colleagues have already described him as, quote, a leader in the field of emergency medicine. In his current position, Simpson routinely treats critically ill and injured patients with life-threatening conditions. During the last year, Simpson's already challenging job was made even more heroic as he selflessly treated a relentless surge of COVID-19 patients at Albert Einstein, which experienced the greatest number of COVID patients in Philadelphia along with Temple University. Continually putting himself at risk of exposure to the disease, Simpson not only provided for his patients' medical needs, but also comforted the fatally ill when family members were unable to be with them. A native of Stillwater, New Jersey, Simpson began his studies in biology and neuroscience at King's in 2009 and graduated summa cum laude with his Bachelor of Science in 2013. Displaying an early dedication to serving his community, Simpson participated in multiple serve trips throughout his time at King's, both in the continental US and in Mexico. In recognition of that service, Simpson was the recipient of the Father James J. Doyle CSC Volunteer of the Year Award in 2013. He held leadership positions in various organizations at King's, including the Emergency Response Team, EMT-B, Student Allies for Equality, the Lambda chapter of Alpha Epsilon Delta Pre-Professional Health Society, and was a peer tutor in the Academic Skills Center. He continued his education at the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine and earned his Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine with honors in 2017. Simpson has performed his postgraduate training at the Einstein Healthcare Network in Philadelphia and has also completed the Rural Emergency Medicine elective at the Block Island Medical Center in Rhode Island. He continues to conduct research, perform lectures, and issue publications that focus on critical issues in emergency medicine. Upon completion of his residency, Simpson will continue tirelessly serving patients at Our Lady of Lourdes Medical Center in Camden, New Jersey. In recognition of his exemplary acts of service to others and his many contributions to the field of emergency medicine, we present to Dr. Daniel J. Simpson, class of 2013, with esteem and appreciation, the King's College Alumni Award for Service to Society, this 31st day of August in the year of the Lord, 2021.
And congratulations. What an extraordinary resume, what an extraordinary life, albeit not terribly long removed from King's. We appreciate this last year and a half has been especially difficult for you and your colleagues in your profession, and know of our gratitude for all that you do. I invite you to share a few words.
Thank you very much, Freddie. It's truly an honor to be with everyone here this evening to accept this award. I first want to say thank you to Father Ryan and Father Looney, the Board of Directors, as well as the Alumni Association for bestowing such a prestigious award on me. It is definitely a privilege to be among the recipients tonight, and I'd like to extend a sincere congratulations to all the other award recipients. I'd also like to thank Kelly Gibbons and Bill Bolin of the Chabal Center for considering me and nominating me for this, and of course the support of my good friend Dr. Fiona Gibney. I think back to a quote from Albert Einstein that I heard during my time at King's quite often: "Only a life lived for others is a life worthwhile." I've done my best to embody this mindset over the last decade, as I believe that a life of service to others is what truly brings life meaning. Since my time at King's, I completed my medicine degree at the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine, an affiliate of King's. I am indebted and grateful to King's for providing me with such an outstanding education and for all my mentors along the way, especially Dr. Fenner and Dr. Coffin, as well as Father Dan Issing. During my time at PCOM, I was involved in several community service outreach experiences, most notably with the Health Career Academy. Over the course of 4 years, I was able to mentor high school students in the struggling Philadelphia Public School District, encouraging them to finish their high school degrees and pursue careers in the medical field. While my parents were blue-collar workers like most King's students, they emphasized both the importance of education and service to others while growing up, and I tried to share those important values with others. I surely would not be where I am today without the unwavering support of all my family and friends. Outreach experiences like these and the Serve Trip sponsored by King's highlight the importance of human connection. In 2021, technology and social media have created many challenges for human connection, but also brought about new methods of communication, as we can see here tonight. As I recently completed my emergency medicine residency training at Einstein in North Philly, connecting with patients and their families throughout the pandemic was certainly a challenge. Caring for over 10,000 COVID patients to date, with limited visitation policies for family members, made the delivery of effective healthcare more difficult than ever. I would often find myself FaceTiming on a patient's phone with their family members, making critical life decisions or allowing family members to see their loved ones for the last time at their end of life. And sometimes I wouldn't be able to get in touch with the family member, and I would find myself sitting next to the patient's bedside, holding their hand, and simply just being there for them. The last year and a half enduring this pandemic has brought to light many of our society's flaws, but there is surely hope, and now is the time to restructure and repair. I encourage you all to take every opportunity you're afforded to sit down, put your phone away, and connect and cherish your time with other people. You'll be surprised to learn their life story and the impact it will have on you. This is often what I found myself doing on the number of Serve Trips I attended while at King's, and often find myself doing with each of my patient encounters. It will definitely make you a better person, and in turn, it will make the world a better place. I'm so grateful for my time at King's, the wonderful faculty, mentors, and lifelong friends I've made. They've all had such an incredible impact on my life, and I'm definitely fortunate for all the opportunities my King's education has afforded me. I'm so honored to receive the Alumni Award for Service to Society, and I'm excited as I continue my service as an attending physician in Camden, New Jersey. Thank you very much.
Wow. We can't thank you enough for all that you've done to serve our brothers and sisters in need. And what a great model you are for our students, not only to take full advantage of the opportunities provided them here at King's, but to take those experiences out in the world just as you have done. Thank you, Dan. Congratulations. Our next award is the Leo Award. The Leo Award is presented to an alumnus or alumna within 15 years of their graduation who has demonstrated outstanding achievement in their professional or community activities. Named for the King's College mascot, it suggests the energy, pride, and sense of purpose that the recipient personifies. The 2021 honoree of the Leo Award is Dr. Jacqueline Beck.
Dr. Jacqueline Beck, PAC, class of 2016, is a healthcare professional who quotes Dr. Paul Farmer at the top of her resume, referencing his words, quote, "The idea that some lives matter less is the root of all that is wrong with the world," end quote, as her daily inspiration and guiding principle in her medical career. Beck is a senior surgical physician assistant at Bergen New Bridge Medical Center at Rutgers, New Jersey Medical School, where she covers a wide variety of surgical subspecialties throughout the pre, intra, and post-operative periods. She also works as a per diem critical care physician assistant in emergency medicine at Envision Physician Services in Morristown, New Jersey. And during the global pandemic, she has assisted her fellow healthcare colleagues in treating people suffering through the COVID-19 virus. A native of West Milford, New Jersey, Beck's education began at Montclair State University, where she earned her Bachelor of Arts degree in Family and Child Studies in 2012. She then came to King's College to pursue her Master of Science in Physician Assistant Studies and graduated summa cum laude in 2016. While at King's, Beck earned the Thomas J. Lemley Award for Diversity and Health Disparities, the Nathaniel Alston Student Achievement Award, and was the Class of 2016 Community Service Award recipient. Beck continued her medical education at the University of Lynchburg in Virginia, where she graduated summa cum laude with her Doctor of Medical Sciences degree and performed her doctoral fellowship in general and vascular surgery. She has completed postdoctoral certificates in global health and disaster medicine, healthcare administration and management, and is working to complete a third certificate in emergency and disaster management. The federal government's Department of Health and Human Services has appointed her a member of the Trauma and Critical Care Team of the Disaster Medical Assistance Team, part of the HHS Public Health Emergency Program. She has given of her time and talents as a healer on both short and medium-term medical missions in Haiti, Kenya, and Azerbaijan, where she was part of a trauma surgery team caring for civilian refugees victimized by the Armenia-Azerbaijan War. King's professor, Dr. Joel Schumann, who taught Beck in a clinical ethics course in the PA program, spoke of her mission to care for those who are suffering, saying, quote, "She is not the only student of mine who has been moved by love to care for those who most desperately need it, but I know of no other who has followed love so far down that path." Recognized for her determination and leadership in the field of healthcare, we present to Dr. Jacqueline Beck, class of 2016, with esteem, affection, and best wishes for continued success in her career, the King's College Alumni Leo Award, this 31st day of August in the year of the Lord 2021.
What a mark you make on the world. I love Dr. Schumann's remarks of his experience with you and what a way, we're so impressed by the way you've taken that out into our communities, shared your expertise, shared your experience, and shared your love. I welcome you to share a few of your own words, Dr. Beck.
Thank you. Good evening, Father Looney, Alumni Awards Committee, King's faculty, staff, fellow honorees, family, and friends. I am truly grateful and humbled to be gathered together tonight to receive this Leo Award. I would first like to thank God for his grace and mercy in my life and his example to love others unconditionally. One of my favorite parables is the story of the Good Samaritan, found in Luke chapter 10, verses 25 to 37. It explains how a Samaritan man took pity on an injured man, bandaging his wounds and taking him into an inn to be cared for. The Samaritan man then asked the innkeeper to look after the injured man when he had to leave, thus the innkeeper to continue his initial good work, sharing in the act of kindness. Time and time again, when I've heard this account of the Good Samaritan, it is the Samaritan alone who receives the credit, notoriously, individually receiving it for his good deed. Yet, it would not have been possible for the injured man to recover without the aid of the innkeeper coming alongside of the Samaritan, assisting him and seeing his initial act of compassion come to fruition. Relatively, it is my passion to go to the ends of the earth and serve others using medicine. Yet, like the Good Samaritan, I could not do this work alone, and I am greatly endowed to those, like the innkeeper, who have come alongside me in this journey. My grandmother, Madeline, who sits beside me, encouraged academic excellence as early as primary school, and it was her persistent enthusiasm for my education that led me to become the first college graduate in my family, eventually becoming valedictorian of my Doctorate of Medical Science program. To my mother and father, Joan and Kevin Beck, who have continuously represented the sacrificial love of Christ as parents in the way they dedicate their time, money, sweat, and resources to ensure my success in life. To my older sister, Janice, thank you for all the years of tough love. You gracefully taught me the resilience I needed for the battlefield of life. Diana Easton, who represents King's College Physician Assistant Program tonight as the program director, I am forever grateful for my education at King's College and the foundation it laid for me to focus on treating people and not just a disease. King's College, and specifically your program, laid the foundation in my life to help me practice clinically with integrity, and I continue to do that today as a result of what King's has done for me. Dr. Sauls, you are the standard I hold for myself, both personally and professionally. You are the most brilliant, compassionate, energetic, and genuine person, and the wisest professor I have ever had the pleasure of learning under. Dr. Schumann, you changed my world with one PowerPoint slide. The slide again contained that quote from Paul Farmer, which it read, and I will read again because it's so worthy of hearing a second time. The idea that some lives matter less is the root of all that is wrong with our world. I suspected this was truth when I heard it. This quote has been proven over and over to me on my various missions, opening my eyes to the reality that poverty often defines what a person can and cannot do, will and will not have. Your ethics lectures carried well beyond the walls of the classrooms and impact the actions of my daily life. Your positive outlook on humanity was so contagious and inspirational, it fed a flame in my own heart. To Carter, Jesse, Sharon, my Aunt Janice, and the Weinman family watching, together you have continued to believe in me and my acts of service to the Lord with a faith that makes me believe in myself and gives me the courage to do things I never dreamed of and go places I can hardly find on a map. Thank you for your belief in me, and words are far to find the gratitude that is in my heart. While I may not have changed the world, I am convinced that together we change the lives of many people around the globe. Like the Good Samaritan and the innkeeper, it has been our joint relationship which has played a key role in the success of each act of service. Both home and abroad, I thank you each graciously for coming alongside me and embracing this journey together. Thank you.
Thank you. You are indeed changing the world. Know of how proud we are of you, how happy we are for you, and how grateful we are to call you a King's College monarch. Congratulations, Jacqueline. Well done. And give Grandma Madeline a big hug for us when the program's over. We see you, Grandma. Our next award is the Alumni Award for Outstanding Professional Achievement in Business. The King's College Alumni Award for Outstanding Professional Achievement is awarded to an alumnus or alumna who has distinguished themselves through exceptional professional achievement in the field of business. This year, our honoree is Mr. Michael Bukowski.
Michael W. Bukowski, class of 1975, is a leader in the healthcare industry with more than 40 years of progressive financial, administrative, and executive experience working in healthcare settings. A native of Nanticoke, Pennsylvania, Bukowski earned his Bachelor of Science in Business Administration and Accounting from King's College in 1975. He later earned his Master's in Healthcare Administration in 1987 from Southwest Texas State University, where he also served as an adjunct professor. His professional life began at Wilkes-Barre General Hospital as an assistant administrator in patient financial services, and he quickly rose to the role of executive director of the Scott and White Clinic, a multi-specialty physician-led organization. Building on his experience there, he was later named executive vice president and chief administration officer at the Carle Clinic Association, and later chief executive officer of University of Louisville Physicians. He has also served as chief administrative officer of USMD Holdings Incorporated and president of USMD Physician Practice Management. Throughout his expansive career in healthcare administration, Bukowski has had the opportunity to mentor and develop hundreds of young healthcare leaders and executives. He currently serves as president and chief operations officer of U.S. Specialist Management. Bukowski has served as a fellow in the American College of Medical Group Practice Administrators. He has also served on the executive committee of the American Medical Group Association from 2009 through 2013 and held the position of chairman of the board in 2013. He was elected to the King's College Board of Directors in October of 2019. Bukowski and his wife, Judy Dalmas Bukowski, class of 1975, have 3 children, Tara, Craig, and Brooke, and they are grandparents to 2 granddaughters, Vivian and Virginia. After their son, Craig, passed away from leukemia at age 12 in 1995, Bukowski organized his first junior golf tournament in Craig's honor for golfers aged 7 through 18, a tradition that has continued for more than 25 years. In recognition of his exemplary professional success, specifically his contributions to the healthcare industry, we present to Michael W. Bukowski, class of 1975, with esteem and appreciation, the King's College Alumni Award for Outstanding Professional Achievement in Business, this 31st day of August in the year of the Lord, 2021.
My congratulations. Those of us on campus who know you know how dedicated you are as a monarch, know how proud you are to be a monarch, both you and Judy. And we're so thrilled to have the opportunity to celebrate you this night. Please feel free to share your words.
Thank you, Freddie. Thank you, Father Tom. Also thank Father Jack. I can't thank Kings and the committee enough for honoring me and allowing me to receive this award. I know there are many, many worthy alumni that are most worthy to receive this. So I thank all of you and I thank everyone that was involved. I also want to thank my good friend, Mr. Jim Blazek. He nominated me and I met Jim at King's as a freshman in 1971. He graduated from Sacred Heart of Plains, and I, as was said, was from Nanticoke. And we became very good friends. And I'm going to assume, if Jim is on the line, that he finally has forgiven me. On our last football game at King's College in 1975, our intramural team, we had Dean Schleck on our team. We had a pretty good football team. And we were in a championship game, and Jim was one of the linemen, and I was quarterback, and they put a huge hole for me. And I got caught from behind before I got in the end zone. And I could tell you that I heard about that for a long, long time. So Jim, I'm going to assume you finally have forgiven me for getting caught from behind. But thank you, very much appreciated. I thought I'd spend a few moments on Kings. When I first got the call from Rose, I actually thought when I heard Rose's voice, she was calling me about where the next trip was. We went to Italy, and Rose was on that trip, and Kings the alumni put it together. It was spectacular. And I thought, I'd been asking her when are we going and where are we going? And I thought that's what the phone call was. Well, she totally caught me off guard, and it was an incredible call, and it was very humbling to receive that. Truth be known about Kings, when I was a high school senior in '71, I remember my mother asking me where I was, if I had all my college paperwork completed. And she asked me where I all applied. And I told her that I really had an interest of going to Penn State. I grew up like all my friends. We were Penn State fans, and I wanted to go to Penn State. My mother looked at me and said, "You're not going to Penn State." I said, "Really? Where am I going?" She said, "You're going to Kings." And I said, "Kings?" And she said, "Yes, you need supervision." And, it took me a long time to tell Mom she was right, but Mom was really right. But I didn't let her know that for a long, long time. As I think about Kings and I think about my 4 years there, three things come to mind. It's the structure that Kings provides, the accountability that Kings provides, and the foundation for life. And it's giving me the time from the time I got the call from Rose to this evening to really reflect on that. From a structure standpoint, Kings as a freshman, as an incoming freshman, provides all kind of pathways. Nobody can give you an answer, and nobody can tell you what you should major in or what you should do with your life, but they can advise you, and they did. And they provided numerous pathways. And for me personally, it was not so much to determine what Mike liked more, it was what I didn't like. And so there were things that we all know that we really don't enjoy. And we don't enjoy maybe spending time studying, but there are things that we ultimately migrate to. And Kings did that for me. So as was mentioned, I went the business route, the finance route, and the accounting route. But once I got past the structure, I thought it was all about accountability. What Kings does for all of us as young teenagers coming out of high school, there are many that know what they want to be a physician, or they want to be a lawyer, or they want to be a scientist. But the average probably does not. And I was in that bucket. I was the average. I wasn't sure. I knew I liked math. I knew I liked numbers. But no matter what path you took at Kings, accountability was very important. Very important to me. It forces you to be accountable. You have to show up to class. I don't know what the rules are today, but I could tell you in 1971 to 75, they took roll at every class. We had a prayer before every class. You were accountable to that professor. You were accountable to yourself, and you were accountable to your parents. Kings taught me that. I think no matter what we do is, let's just say, challenging teenagers and trying to figure out life when you're 17, 18, and 19. No matter what you do all day and what you did at night, when you showed up, I had a lot of the 7 a.m. classes. I had the early classes because I had a few part-time jobs. But it was when you start each morning with a prayer, it brings you back to reality. It forces you to get focused. It forces you to think about, what am I doing here? Well, what you're doing there is getting ready for the future. I can remember, like as was mentioned, so many professors, but even today, Father Richard Desjardins I had for philosophy. I can recite his prayer word for word. We said it every day I had him, I believe, 2 semesters. And you don't forget that. And it becomes a part of you. It becomes a part of you, just like religion, just like other aspects of our life. When you do something every day, it becomes who you are and what you're about. And I've never forgotten that. When I thought about the foundation for life, so in my case, business, finance, accounting, yes, I liked all that, but those courses don't really prepare you for life. It doesn't prepare you for all the curveballs that are coming your way. As a freshman, I'm sure I was very typical. Why do we have all these electives? Why do we have to take 12 hours of theology? Why do we got to take 12 hours of philosophy? Why do we have to have English? Why do we have to have history? I'm going to be a business guy. I don't need this. Well, that's what you believe when you're 19 and 20 and 21. And that's who we are. And that's probably how it should be. But as we move on in our life, and as we begin to live life, and we get married, and we have responsibilities, well, we don't necessarily draw on business. We don't necessarily draw on accounting. Life isn't a spreadsheet. What we draw on is what we talked about in philosophy, what we talked about in theology. And to tell you one thing that's also stands out, you talk about professors, many professors. I enjoyed most of them, if not all of them, and I enjoyed the entire time. But when I was a senior, I was informed by the registrar that I needed another English class. I needed a literature class. Well, those things were not my favorite topics: history, English, etc. And a friend of mine told me, said, "Mike, why don't you take Dr. Lodge?" I said, and I looked it up, and Dr. Lodge taught Shakespeare. Now, I'm a guy that did not spend his time reading and reading Beowulf and some of these things we were asked to read was painful for me, but we did it. Well, I took Dr. Lodge on one person's advice. And I will tell you, I'm not a world-renowned Shakespeare guy, but the way he taught and the way he got through to us as students and the way he got us to think about our English language a little bit differently and what Shakespeare was trying to say, what it taught us was there's different ways to say the same thing. And to me, what it meant in my business career, listen to what people have to say. You have your opinion, but other people have their opinions also. So that was probably my only really great grade in English or history, but it was Dr. Lodge. It was the professor. It was how he reached out to us as students. And I remember telling my mother, I remember telling friends of mine, I read 3 plays or 4 plays that it was like reading the sports page. And again, I was one of those students that was not very good or did not put the time and didn't give these other classes as I did in my major world. But I could tell you what it served me throughout my life, and to help me understand that many people have opinions. All the people that we work with in my world in healthcare, understanding physicians. I'm not a doctor, but I understand doctors, and I understand the passion that they exhibit each and every day, as was mentioned by Daniel a little bit earlier here. I have a really good sense after over 40 years with these men and women, what it took to get to where they're at, and how proud they are, and they take care of all of us as patients. As I tell a lot of my folks that have worked for me over the years in healthcare, sometimes we sit around the table and we talk like we're never going to be a patient. Well, I think my colleague on this screen would agree with me. We're all patients, and we're all going to need these people called doctors. So we need to not refer to them as those guys or those gals. But in the administrative side, it's the world we're in. But I have a deep respect and a deep admiration for all the men and women that have gone through that. So I'll just close that I could tell you that I've been very fortunate. The King's Foundation, the structure, the accountability to ourselves, the accountability to our parents and to the professors for the time that they had given to us. And lastly, I will say I had 3 incredible professional mentors in my life. And my first role was at Wilkes-Barre General Hospital, and a fellow by the name of Jim Ratchis, and I don't know if Jim's on, but I sent him a note. I have been forever grateful to him. He took a chance on a shaggy-haired guy with mustache at a King's College in 1975, and he took a chance on me, and I never forgot it. And the lessons that I learned from him as my first professional mentor have served me my entire career. So I thank you, Jim. I thank you to Jim for your nomination. I thank Kings for your incredible support and awarding this to me tonight. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Mike. And your words are a powerful testimony to the importance of mentors and educators and openness and being willing to listen to others. And you've certainly demonstrated by example how important that is in our world. Thank you for all that you do in the world. Thank you for all you do to represent Kings so very well. It's truly a privilege to know you. Congratulations, Mike.
Thank you, Freddie.
Our next award, our final award, is the Alumni Award for Outstanding Professional Achievement in the Arts and Sciences. The King's College Alumni Award for Outstanding Professional Achievement is awarded to an alumnus or alumna who has distinguished themselves through exceptional professional achievement in the field of arts and sciences. Our 2021 honoree is Dr. P.J. Utz.
Dr. P.J. Utz, class of 1986, is a professor of medicine and associate dean for medical student research at Stanford University School of Medicine. A native of Roaring Brook Township, Pennsylvania, Utz graduated from King's College in 1986 with his Bachelor of Science in Biology. He also minored in English, philosophy, and chemistry. He received numerous awards while at King's, including the Center for Independent Living Award, the Regina Award for Biology, and the CRC Chemistry Award. Utz graduated from Stanford University School of Medicine in 1991, and after finishing his medical degree, completed a short-track residency in internal medicine and rheumatology at Brigham and Women's Hospital in Massachusetts. He joined the Stanford faculty in 1999. Utz is an expert in the development of multiplexed assays for studying autoimmune diseases, such as systemic lupus erythematosus, rheumatoid arthritis, connective tissue diseases, type 1 diabetes, and immunodeficiency disorders. Through his collaborative research and work, he has contributed to the use of protein arrays in clinical trials and the development and human testing of tolerizing DNA vaccines for type 1 diabetes and multiple sclerosis. Utz also serves as the director of Stanford's NIAID-funded Autoimmunity Center of Excellence, as the principal investigator of the Accelerating Medicines Partnership RA-SLE Leadership Center, and as a co-principal investigator for an NIAID influenza vaccine program. In addition to his work as a researcher, Utz is a dedicated and innovative educator who founded Stanford Institutes of Medical Research, one of the nation's largest and most respected immersive high school research programs. Utz has held the positions of Associate Director, Co-Director, and Director of the Medical Scientist Training Program at Stanford since 2008. He has been awarded faculty teaching awards in the Department of Medicine and in the Immunology Interdepartmental PhD program. More than 60 scientists and 14 thesis students have benefited from Utz's teaching and mentorship, and he has served on more than 70 PhD thesis committees. Utz has served on numerous boards, advisory committees, and community organizations, including the Arthritis National Research Foundation, on which he is a current board member. In recognition of his exemplary professional success, specifically his significant contribution to the field of medicine, we present to Dr. Paul Utz, class of 1986, with esteem and appreciation, the King's College Alumni Award for Outstanding Professional Achievement in the Arts and Sciences this 31st day of August in the year of the Lord 2021.
What an extraordinary career. Thank you, PJ, for all that you have done to make the world a better place, particularly in the world of medicine. And thank you for your generosity over the years with our students who've expressed interest, some of whom have made their way to the West Coast. We're very happy for you and your family, and we look forward to your remarks.
Well, I'm blown away by being nominated for this award and winning this award. I don't know who nominated me, but whoever it was, thank you. I want to thank Freddie, Rose, Mike, and Father Tom for their remarks. And I'd also like to thank the other recipients, Marion, Dan, Jacqueline, and Mike, for what I've heard today is just amazing. That we have great King's graduates who are doing just phenomenal things around the world. I'll say just one thing to Jacqueline. I trained at Brigham and Women's, and in my internship class there were two very famous people, or people who became very famous. One was Jim Kim, who became the president at Dartmouth and then the president of the World Bank. And the other was Paul Farmer. And so I know Paul and his words very well. Ironically, Paul's nickname is also PJ. He grew up in Florida and his nickname was PJ. And he and I shared a call room for 3 consecutive months. So I spent every third night, overnight, in the same room with Paul, hearing about all of his stories in Haiti. And so he was an inspiration to me later in my career once I did my medical training. So I wanted to start off by thanking some of my family who are joining on this call. My Aunt Ann and my Aunt Fran. Aunt Ann is my godmother, and Aunt Fran was my mother's best friend. My parents have passed away. They would be so proud to have participated today, and they're looking down from heaven at this. But my Aunt Ann still lives in Scranton and worked at University of Scranton for a long time, and Aunt Fran lives in Philadelphia. So thank you for joining and for helping to serve as my surrogate mom since my mom has passed away. Also, my brother Jeffrey, who went to University of Scranton as well, and then went on to medical school. And Jeff lives in New York City now. My brother Pete, who went to Lafayette College in Easton and then moved to Michigan. He's a metallurgical engineer, now recently retired. And then I also want to thank my family, my wife Hydron, my kids Ashley, who's currently an MD PhD student here at Stanford. So she has to put up with seeing me around the labs. And my son Oliver, who's at Loyola Marymount in LA. I apologize that I didn't send him to a Holy Cross run school and he went to a Jesuit school, but it's close enough. So thank you to my family for participating in this event today. I think that my immediate family probably is not on the call because they have classes, or in my son's case, he's probably surfing. I next wanted to thank King's faculty and staff. So King's was a special place for me. You'll hear more about that in a minute, but in particular, I had great experiences from some of the teachers I had. Mr. Tobin, who I believe has passed away, was just a phenomenal teacher, as was Dr. Paoletti. Dr. Smith, who taught chemistry and organic chemistry, Father Kozlowskis, who taught chemistry, and then Brother Wilson, who is the person who got me to do research. He sent me to Buffalo, New York, and people make fun of Buffalo, but Buffalo is an awesome place and has the oldest cancer hospital. And he sent me there in the summer in between my junior and senior year, and that's when I realized I could pursue a career, not just as a physician, but also as a scientist. I also had some great humanities teachers, including Gloria Galante, Bob Connolly, and Mr. Vestilio, who taught philosophy and literature and speech and debate. And so I'm just going to end by giving a little bit of a vignette, and this is going to riff off some of Mike's comments about forming a foundation for life. So when I arrived on the King's campus, it was amazingly 40 years ago next year. So it makes me feel really old to think it was that long ago. And I arrived on campus as a first generation college student. My family had not gone to college. My father got a high school equivalency degree after getting thrown out of Catholic high school in Scranton. That's a story in and of itself, but it was right after World War II, and he ended up getting his high school equivalency degree. And I showed up at King's and I met with my advisor, and he was not in sciences. He was a literature professor. And he said, well, you're clearly interested in science, so I'm going to have you take philosophy and literature and history, and because I think you want to get those out of the way so you can focus on science. And King's had, and I'm sure still does have, these requirements, including theology and ethics. And so he had me take 2 literature courses and a philosophy course the first semester, and the second semester 2 philosophy and 1 literature. And so I printed out my midterm grades for my first semester. I had a C in introductory to history, a B+ in ecological literature, an A in chemistry, a B in math, a C+ in chemistry lab, and a B+ in literature. And I was able to pull all those grades up later. So the comments I'm making here really are aimed at current King students and hopefully future King students. So first is that if you arrive on the King's campus and maybe you're not as academically prepared as you think you should be, I certainly was not. That doesn't mean you can't succeed. And so by the time I graduated from King's, I was mostly getting A's by junior and senior year. And that's because of the faculty and staff who supported me. The teaching at King's is simply it's just outstanding. So I arrived on the Stanford campus with a suitcase and a backpack. Second time I had ever been in an airplane, first time I'd ever been west of the Mississippi. I just showed up on campus. I actually interviewed in New York City, didn't even fly out here for interviews. And so I just showed up on campus for med school, and I got in class and I was surrounded by students from Harvard, Yale, Stanford, Cal, all of these really top schools. And I thought, wow, am I going to be able to be successful here in med school? And what I soon discovered was not only was I successful, my training at King's was better than the science and other foundational training that these other students had. I had taken biology, multiple different chemistries, genetics, histology, anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, molecular biology, immunology. So medical school wasn't that hard when I got here compared with what the other students had to go through. And that's in large part because I was so well prepared at King's. The second component is the liberal arts education that King's offered. As you've heard, I ended up, I told you I was encouraged to take some of these courses like literature and philosophy to just get them out of the way. And lo and behold, I discovered that I actually really liked them enough that I ended up taking more than I really needed to take. And that served for a number of different really important reasons for my success as a physician, scientist, and professor here. Liberal arts education, if you're a student and you're listening or an incoming student, take liberal arts classes. The foundation I've gotten from liberal arts has been instrumental. To be successful as a physician and a scientist, you have to know how to write. You have to know how to read critically. You have to know how to be able to present succinctly. And the liberal arts education that King's offered to me clearly allowed that to happen. And I'm just going to end by saying the third thing that King's gave to me, besides the science education and the liberal arts education, is my development as a person. And it really resonated with me when I heard the mission statement, not only how to make a living, but how to live. I feel like at King's, I learned how to live. I learned how to give back to the community. I learned how to be a scientist, a doctor, a teacher, a mentor, but especially how to be a human being and how to be ultimately a good husband and a good parent. So Again, thank you to Kings for this tremendous honor and congratulations to the other recipients today.
Thank you so much, PJ. What a great story of resilience and perseverance and the benefit of support and empowering through. You've made an extraordinary life, an extraordinary career, and it's great to see. It's been a long time since we've seen each other. But so glad you could be part of this tonight, and to your family who's watching, we congratulate them as well. Thank you. 5 extraordinary stories. 5 exceptional ways that King's alumni have made and continue to make an impact in the world. And when you think of our world in these times, we need you. We need people like you. And so thank you for your life experience. Thank you for the model that you set for our young women and men. They're more powerful than perhaps you appreciate, but we're so very proud of you. To share his words of congratulations, I welcome back our president, Father Tom Looney. Father Tom.
Thanks, Freddie, and thanks to each of our honorees tonight for the beautiful words that you shared. Over the last several years, we have 2 interesting new events here at King's. During the President's Welcome, one of our faculty members gives a talk on the vocation of a student. What is a student at King's called to do at this moment in their life? And then we have something called a vocation lecture, where we invite in an expert who has excelled in their vocation and their call to be life-giving to others, and they come and talk about their vocation story. So as you were each reflecting tonight for us, I thought I could invite each one of you to give that vocation lecture here at the college. And this year, we're reading an interesting book together. It's called Living Vocationally. And it's a book that is meant to help young people think about the constant call that comes to them both from within their own hearts and from outside, from the needs of the world. And as you all spoke tonight, I had that sense, that call that has come to you within your own heart, resonating with who you are deeply as a person, but also the call that came from without, the needs of the world, for great educators, for great medical people, for great businessmen, for great educators. What a humbling experience it has been to listen to all of you. And 2 words that resonate from what each of you said, humility and gratitude. You're all thankful to others who have walked with you on this path and have mentored you and have pushed you forward in your life. You've been filled with that sense of humility. It's not all about you, but it's about the communities and families that you're a part of, and the gratitude that you share. What wonderful virtues that you've shared with us tonight. What wonderful paths of life. Thank you so much for having been at King's, for the privilege of having had you here as students, and for the blessing that you are to us as alumni. You have honored us by the quality of your life and by the virtue with which you live. So thank you so very much.
Thank you, Father Tom. As we wrap up, just a few final words of thanks to the members of the awards committee, who each year are presented with a very challenging task to sift through the applications or the nominations, I should say, for so many powerful life stories, so many great examples. And these 5 monarchs certainly are deserving of the recognition they received tonight. So thank you to the members of the awards committee. And thank you to the members of the IA team, the institutional advancement team, who've worked for so long and hard to put this program together. In a special way, Rose Griskevich, who works tirelessly and enjoys very much those phone calls you heard about earlier, where she gets to call and share the good news with our honorees. So finally, to Marion, Daniel, Jacqueline, Michael, and PJ, know of our continued prayers for you and your families. Continue to do the good work that you do, and know that all of us here at King's College are so very proud of you. Good night, and God bless.
Hey.